Pretty bad. Maybe I can clean that out. If I can clean that out, I can get it to go. Well, we got it cleaned up, as you can see there. It's still pretty rough down inside of there. You can see that gray groove right there, and that's etched in. That'll let a little bit of air leak by, but we got nothing to lose. It's either use it or throw it away. And it might leak a little bit of air as it's pumping and be slightly less efficient, but I still think it'll be worth keeping as a compressor. You can see up here on the top is where it's stuck there. Kind of etched it in. Well, actually that gray strip right around there is where it was stuck. Full of water. That's why you don't let your compressors sit outside. But it turns all the way around now, so we're good. But now the problem becomes the head. So let's go over and take a look at that. Oh yeah, let me show you. I used a little wire brush action right here and wrapped a little sandpaper around it, stuffing it down in the hole there to try to clean it up. It did a pretty good job. Anyway, let's go look at the head. It's going to have a little bit of cleanup on it. So this is the head on it right here. And when I saw that, I knew water, 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 and that's not good. Anyway, the way these heads work and the way a compressor works is it has valves, but it doesn't have the traditional engine valve. It has a reed valve. And that's these little things right here. And these little reed valves are super thin, and it's easy to bend them if you're not kind of careful with them. So here's the one that I took out of it, and clearly you can see how thin they are, like razor knife thin. But right here is the side it was sealing. That surface right there was down here. And what it does is when it sucks in air, it pulls these down to seal it off, is the way it works. Well, wait a minute. When it sucks in air, it pulls the air in through here. It comes in, and the velocity of the air will naturally, if I can get that to open, naturally open that a little bit. Get it down there where you can see it. It'll open it a little bit, and the air then will pull it open, but then the spring, as soon as the air stops sucking, then the spring then will close it back up, and it seals up. So then when the piston comes back up to the top, then it pushes the air out through this tube right here into the tank. So it's very important that these right here seal. And there's no rubber seal, it's just metal. So they got to be clean, they got to make sure they lay flat. So I got to be real careful and not bend them and damage them. That one already has a little bit of rust damage on it right there. But I think it will still seal and be okay, because it's going to seal around this edge. My dirty screwdriver around here. So I'm going to take the screws out of this one right here. Those are little bitty screws, boy. I mean, they're little. There they are right there. 3/16 head on them. They're so tiny. Which is where you need a ignition wrench set, right? You know, they're really small. As you can see in reference to my thumb, look how small that is. Or my finger. Anyway, my dirty fingers. You can see how small that is. They're so small. So anyway, we're going to take the rest of these out. These little bolts out right here and here. Here and here. And those look pretty good, but I'm still going to take them out. Clean all this up. Put it back together. Bolt it back on. And I think it will work and run okay. Okay, and I'm going to try to set this camera up so you can see when I take this thing apart. Got it zoomed in pretty good. So, alright. So let's see. 3/16. This one right here. Boy, those are really, really small. You got to make sure you got a good fit on something that small, because it's so easy to damage it by having an ill-fitting wrench. And I hope I'm not cursing myself when I say that. Anyway, I'm going to speed this up so y'all can see. sure everybody knows where you keep track of them. Easy to get lost. Easy to get lost. Ooh, not good. You see that? Not good. Let's see what we got here. These look better. Still not good. You see those? Neither one of those are good. Yeah, not good. Needs a lot of cleanup. I think they'll be okay as long as they're cleaned up. We're going to take these right here out as well, because they got those are the little screws on the top, and I need to clean that up. So that's what holds the pressure in the tank right there. Well, it's really important to get that square down on there and don't let it slip. Because if you chew up the corners of that nut, they're so easy to chew up, you probably will not get it out. Need to grind off. My socket was a little bit recessed, and that was not helping my cause. I needed it absolutely flush. There we go. Okay. Let's take a look at these. Yeah, those need to be, see those are smaller ones. These are big protective ones over the top. These are smaller, thin ones on the bottom here. They need to be cleaned up. They're not bad, but they need to be cleaned up. And that's what holds the air in and lets it out. The air blows these open. The air blows these open when it gets a puff and blows. It pushes the air up through here and blows these open. The air comes in here, the intake here, the output here, and the intake, and then it sucks those open right there. Anyway, let's clean all this up. Put it back together, and I think we'll be in good shape. Okay, so I need a gasket for this right here. I can order one. I really don't want to wait mostly to get one. And one's about like, I don't know, like $6 or $7, which isn't that bad. But combine that with waiting, I don't want to wait. I want to get this thing together and running. So here's what I'm going to do. I got this gasket material right here. And right here. And I always use gasket material. I always punch out my own gaskets. So I'm going to make my own. And here's what I'm going to do. Sure, I've already punched it out, but I'm going to show you how I figured this out. So what I did was just lay my gasket material up here, because I need to know the shape of these. Now, I could do all this crazy, figuring and measuring and scribing and squaring. But what I do is lay this up here where I want it, making sure it's covering all over. Take my hammer, go along and tap it around the edges, not super hard, just tap it around, and maybe on the bolt holes, use the little round thing to get in the bolt holes. Tap it all the way around, tap it all around, and then you'll start to see a line form in here. And when you see that line, some people will keep going until they literally cut it in half. I don't know that I want to go that far, but I've at least got the imprint of it right here, and I can go there and take a knife and cut this out And I got gasket punches, and I'll punch that out, and we'll show you that. Okay, so here's my gasket punch right here. I've got an assortment of these in different sizes. Come on, there we go. And it just simply punches out the gasket. And I find one that corresponds to my, come on, focus. One that corresponds to my bolt size right there. And that's what I use. You just tap it out with a hammer. Anyway, okay. All right, so let's punch a gasket out here. Move this to the side, like way to the side. Okay, I'm going to clear this out of spot here. Let's see where we're at. All right, I need to cut this out and get this cut out right here first. Hold on, let me find a knife. Okay, let's take our knife and kind of cut away most of this that we don't need. No, we're not going to need this. That's what I get for using a dull knife. Let me change the blade. I'm going to put that aside. Let me change the blade in this knife here. Okay. All right. Now we got our knife blade changed. So, the obstacles of working. So we got our punch here. So I can see that I want these holes right here. The only ones I have to really hit are these two center ones right here. These don't actually have gasket going around these four outer bolts. So the two on the inner ones is the ones I've got to hit. There's one-y. There's almost two-y. Yep, there it is. Okay. Now I can cut these right here out. Being extra careful to not cut outside of the line. It doesn't have to be a perfect, circle, but just try to get it close. I mean, some people would continue to tap on it until that cylinder cuts it in half. I tell you what, we'll do that on the second one. See the difference. Okay. Let's go over there and tap on this one right here to finish it off like that. Okay, now, just to be sure that I have got all of this lined up correctly, I'm going to put it like I had it, put it here, and put this bolt in here. Just slide it down in there, and the other one here, just to keep it lined up. Okay, so I'm going to tap this right here. I can do it without my camera falling. There, it's starting to cut it right there. Get that finger out of the way. Sorry for the bouncy camera, but it's on my camper window. Kind of springy there. And there it is. And that's another way of doing it. And we got to get that thing out of there. There we go. Okay. And in doing so, we have a perfect circle gasket there compared to the other side. So now we can finish trimming it up around here and put for cleanliness and put that on, get it on there, and see if this thing's going to start running again. And now we'll go over it just to make sure it's kind of flat. And I've scraped that gasket material off best I can, but we'll run a file over it just to make sure it takes that gasket material off and it flattens it out, so I can get a good seal on that. Again, like if this was a regular car engine, an internal combustion engine, those wear marks would be a death to it. It would be done. Rebore it. But for an air compressor, I believe this will work out okay. An air compressor is not nearly that critical. You can see those shiny spots right there where that file's hitting it. So you can kind of see their mill marks when they milled it. They had a circular scraper, a stone going around it like this, because you can see that cut mark in it right there. See that? Yeah, there it goes. It shows up there. Okay. Anyway, now let's put the head on and see if it's going to seal up good. She's pretty good and clean there. Just a little insurance. Because again, it's not like an engine where we have flame and fire and heat to contend with. We just have air. Just normal air. Under about 120 pounds of pressure at its maximum. So we'll put, and you don't have to glob this stuff on. I see people in video, or I've seen people, and I gotta admit, I used to be this way. They glob this stuff on super thick, and you got a gasket. So all I'm trying to do is just provide a little insurance to make sure that gasket seals. So all you really need to do is just put a super thin skim on it, almost as thin as you can spread it with your finger, is thick enough, because when you mash it down, some of it's going to squeeze out. I'm going to try to get rid of that right there. Okay, I believe we're good. So let's put the gasket. Let's see. I punched it out like this right here. When I punched it, let's see. No. Yeah, it was like that. Not that it matters, but I like to put it on the way I punched it. Them holes got to line up. Those are the only holes. I should have notched those out. Okay. I'll have to cut those out in a minute. All right. Let's put a little bit on the head here, just to, again, just more insurance. But we just need a couple dots. We don't need a bunch. About that's all we need. And then we'll just take our finger and just kind of spread it around. Super thin. Super thin. Super thin. Yeah, I just didn't want to wait for a gasket. And this saves me, well, it saves me money. Mostly saves me time, too. It's a little of both. And get this thing done, move on to the next project. The next thing I got on my ever-growing agenda of things to do, which never ends, seems like. Okay, all right. Okay. So let's see, this goes on like so. Let's put the bolts in there first. Because these are the bolts that are going to line it up right here. Those are what's really lining the gasket up. Clearly that bolt's not long enough. Must be a long one made for that one. Oh yes, here it is. It's a tad bit longer. I was not aware of that. Now tighten them down. I'm going to go ahead and tighten it, snug these two down right off. That'll hold that gasket in place. Because since I didn't punch that gasket material out on those four corners, I'm going to have to push it out of the way. If that was not tight, it would probably damage some of my gasket. Anyway. Oh, wait a minute. I need to change that right there. I got to put this in here. Take this out. Yeah, goes like that. I need to put a little filter down in there before I put this on. Yeah, I need to put a little filter in there. Okay. Let's go ahead and tighten it up and just see if it's going to work out before I do all that. I don't think that's right. I guess it is. Seems awful long to me. No, that ain't right. I know what I did wrong. These two need to be swapped. Bet there's a difference in the length. Oh yeah. Yeah. Let's put the short one over here. That's why when you're doing mechanical something, if you're in something that you're not totally familiar with, if something don't feel right or don't look right, don't force it. Just stop and check it. Double check, go back, and if it don't feel right, it probably is not right. Go back and double check it. I need to get a bigger wrench for this. Okay, so I got everything back together. I got the head gasket bolted on, all the fittings put back on it here, all the studs tightened down good, got the filter put back in here. I feel good about it. Got the Woodruff key put back in it because it sheared the Woodruff key off when it locked up like that. So I got all that cleaned up in good shape. So let's see what happens here when I turn it on, see if it works. It does. I can hear it building pressure already. Where's that? Oh, it's coming from right here. It's got a bad blow-off valve. I need to get a new one of those. But other than that, you can kind of stop it. Other than that, it works pretty good. Clearly it's building pressure because you can hear it. I think that's a nice save for what would have been a throwaway item. Yep. Seems to work good, I think. But you can hear building pressure for sure. Well, anyway, we're going to shut it off. Peace out, y'all. Just get out there and build something, do something with your hands, fix something. Don't throw it away. Take it apart, look at it, diagnose it, fix it. Don't be a parts changer, be a diagnostic man. Fix it. Hot Rods Woodshed. Peace out, y'all. Sweating.